I bought this guitar used a few years ago, and it's sat in a gig bag ever since. I had actually, to be honest with you, forgotten about it. I figured I'd eventually get around to doing something with it. I think it's a very unique looking Telecaster from the Squier Classic Vibe series. It's called the Squier FSR Classic Vibe 70s Thinline Telecaster, and I believe is a offering from Chicago Music Exchange. Guitar World did a review on this guitar, specifically this guitar, and stated the following very bold statement. This Thinline Telecaster is one of the best electric guitars under $500 on the market today. I would concur. Here are the specifications for the guitar. The guitar has a soft maple, semi-hollow body with an F-hole with a gloss polyurethane finish. It has a maple neck with a maple fretboard with a C-shaped profile. Has a radius of 9.5 inches or 241 millimeters. There are 21 narrow tall frets, black block inlays, which are very distinctive looking. Nut material is bone. Nut width is 1.650 inches or 42 millimeters. Scale length of 25.5 inches or 648 millimeters. The finish is tinted gloss urethane, and I like it on the front, but I don't necessarily like it on the back. I may actually end up steel wooling the back of the neck. From the factory, the guitar comes with dual fender designed wide range humbuckers, both in the bridge and neck positions. Controls are a single master volume and a single master tone, and a 3-position Telecaster blade switch. The guitar was originally released in 2021 for Chicago Music Exchange as a Fender Special Run guitar. Used, you can find the guitar now for $385 to $599, and I put a link in the top of the description for reverb. I ended up with a used set of pearly gates that were described as open box. When I got them, I was surprised to find all of the hardware still sealed in plastic, and the pickups had never been installed in a guitar. I paid $200 for this set. Newest set goes for $239. I love this description. It's very well written and funny. Here's some background on how the pearly gates also came to be. I didn't know when I purchased them that they were also affiliated with Billy Gibbons, like the Hades Gates pickups that I highlighted in a video a few months ago. The pearly gates is sweet but slightly rude, with great sustain and a bright top end that make harmonics jump out of the guitar. The pearly gates neck captures all the mojo of the original neck pickup from Billy Gibbons' 1959 Les Paul. It is a PAF with a unique tonal variation that provides more mid-range than typical humbuckers from that time. Seymour discovered also that Billy's bridge pickup had slightly more output than most PAFs in Les Paul guitars, which helped to give it the extra drive that makes this pickup so special. The Alnico 2-bar magnet keeps the high-end sounding airy but focused, and the mid-range emphasis gives it a unique Texas sizzle. I wanted this guitar for upgrading, and I looked for actually a set of these pickups with the zebra pickups. I figured that it just would fit with the overall cover palette of the guitar. For the electronics, they use Seymour Duncan's online wiring diagram resource. It's pretty cool. You input variables as to what you're planning on, like the number of pickups, the number of switches and type of switches, and so on. And it spits out at the end an appropriate wiring diagram. The good thing is, coming from the same manufacturer that as your pickups, you're certain the color codes for the wiring will match the pickups you're installing. The circuit is based upon 2 Burns 500K split shaft push-pull pots, and they only cost me around $16 for the set. The 3-way blade switch is an Oak Grigsby made switch that retails for $14. I also used a Switchcraft output jack. And lastly, the wiring, and that I think was about $8. Lastly, the wiring diagram called for a 0.047 UF orange drop, 400 volt 760p series tone capacitor, and I paid about $3.50 for that. Just a side note, I've always wondered what orange drop meant in the description of the capacitor. It turns out it's actually a brand name that was originally made by Sprague Electronic, and now Cornell CDE makes them. They're used by many top guitar builders, including Gibson. The circuit is pretty straightforward and based upon a traditional Telecaster circuit design. There are 4 parts to the harness before connecting in the pickups. There is a run of wires that starts on the blade switch and runs to the volume and tone pots. This is the hot audio line. Next is the ground circuit that ties everything together. into the ground circuit of the guitar. The orange drop capacitor in the circuit goes from the middle leg of the tone pot to the ground. Last is the 2 wires of the output jack circuit. The hot lead wire goes to the middle leg of the volume pot, and the ground wire goes to the back of one of the 2 pots. I started a few years ago creating these little pre-soldered runs of wire whenever I'm creating a circuit like this. I measure out the length of what each wire needs to be, and then I cut it. I then twist the pairs of wires together and solder them. When I have the run completed, it makes it a lot easier to install on the blade switch and pots. Also, having a few sets of forceps to hold your wires in place while you're doing your soldering is an absolute necessity and a godsend. Next, I installed a 0.047 microfarad orange drop capacitor onto the tone pot. I ran one leg to the bottom center post as shown in the diagram, and then the other leg I soldered to the top of the pot. The final step, building the wiring harness before soldering in the pickups, is creating the run of wire for the ground circuit between the volume and tone pots. In the diagram, you can see the red highlighted run. Please ignore the red wire coming from the bridge pickup. Just like I did with the audio run, I measured out what each length of wire needs to be, and then I cut it. I then twist the pairs of wires together and solder them. Then I solder the run of wires I created between the 2 pots per the diagram. Once I've done this, short of soldering in the 2 leads from the output jack, I'm ready now to connect the 2 pickups into the actual circuit that I've just created. Now I soldered the 2 pickups into the wiring harness per the diagram, followed by testing the circuit. It was a great relief when everything just worked right out of the gate. One point that I didn't mention earlier, I had to purchase a replacement pickguard because the original had 4 pickup screws for each of the pickups instead of the 2 holes per pickup that I needed. I could have drilled, but I didn't want to mess with the original. I wanted to leave it intact in case I were to ever trade or sell the guitar. I ordered a Musically Pro 12 holes covered HH guitar pickguard for this guitar, 3-ply black for only $13.99 on Amazon. You know, it's kind of amazing that we live in a day that you can order a pickguard and it arrives the very next day. Recently, I ordered strap pegs on Amazon, and they literally showed up the same evening on my doorstep. That's just crazy. So kind of my post-assembly observations, and after spending time playing the guitar and handling it and so on, I really love how the zebra pickup pattern goes with the overall look of the guitar. I was kind of worried because the guitar originally had the chrome pickup covers, but it really works. The pickups are, in my opinion, a really, really great set of humbuckers. Seymour Duncan created something pretty damn cool. The pickups seem to have much more mid-range, which gives them a warmth that I always look for in pickups. The pickups are warm and articulate, but have a very powerful bite. My favorite of the pair has to be the neck pickup. There is not an inkling of muddiness there, and all you get is just clarity. I am really, really pleased with the sounds that I'm getting out of this guitar, how the guitar looks, and how the project turned out.